ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Walking with J.Beau, an almost daily walking vlog. Excuse me. It is in the upper 60s today, and we're going to go back to warmer temperatures this week in the 70s or 70 thereabouts. Fall is definitely upon us. What I'd like to say is to thank you for walking with me when I walk, and just to remind you that this is a daily walking vlog. It's not some kind of adventure vlog. It is to basically, I use it to pacify myself and pass the time while exercising every day, because an exercise routine every day can get monotonous, as I'm sure you know by actually watching it if you watch on a regular basis. So we don't have a tremendous amount of different routes that I walk to entertain people watching, like new places. So often we get the same repetitive routes. But the exercise session is about exercise. It is about maintaining one's health over 50. And it is an exercise walking vlog. And I just happen to talk about whatever I want to talk about, which usually ends up being politics, but not always. So maybe it's like that with most people. Over a certain age, politics start becoming more important to you, mainly because of you grew up a certain way and things change. And when you think the change is not good, you care about it and you want to affect change. Not effect, but affect change back to how things were by promoting good ideas again and common sense. So that is why I walk. Sometimes, though, I do alternate things, like go to the ocean or go to places I've not walked. Yesterday, I actually walked somewhere that I have not walked since last year, and that would be a 9-mile walk we did. Yeah, 9 miles. That's what we did. I gotta watch this guy. Something wrong with him. Seen him before. Go Sox! Ooh, something wrong with that guy. So anyway, that guy that just went by us is that one that I saw walking by, bawling his eyes out one day, looking crazy, and he's looking crazy today. Not the guy with the dog, the guy before him. So anyway, we did go for a walk around a large body of water yesterday. It was a 9-mile walk, and I realized that people maybe, well, more than likely are not going to sit there and watch an entire walk, because basically you have a life and you're not going to watch every damn day. I wouldn't. I don't even watch my own videos every day. I just kind of skim through them when I upload them, make sure our content is okay, camera angles came out good. And for a while, I wasn't uploading every day. What I would do is I would record every walk, but I would not upload every single one of them. Because, you know, sometimes I don't have a lot of new stuff to talk about. And it gets redundant. Same thing every day, every day, every day. I get it. But it's just something I like to do. It also helps me vent. And, which is always nice. So I'm going to turn the camera around now. I was watching the Charlie Kirk Memorial. I was going to sit there and watch all of it, but I decided to get my walk in before the quote-unquote big names speak later today. That would be President Trump and J.D. Vance and Charlie Kirk's wife. So it is a Charlie Kirk Memorial in Arizona. I already saw some really cool video for it. I was watching some of the music earlier. A lot of Christian bands. You know, which is fine. I don't have anything against that, but more often than not, they always have this style of music where they're playing acoustics and they're singing they sing the grass wave music, where people watching it do this. You know, that's great in a church service, and it's a memorial service, I get it. But that kind of music to me doesn't do anything for me. Not the lyrics in it, the lyrics are fine. You know, it's all pro-Christian, God, Jesus. I know a lot of hardcore, heavy metal Christian bands that have the same lyrics, but the music has a pulse, you know what I mean? So anyway, so I'm gonna bypass that stuff and tune back in later, I guess is my point. But they were expecting 100,000 people at the stadium where the Cardinals play. And it's looking like maybe 300,000 are going to show up, and they're obviously not going to be able to get in. So I hope there's a big Jumbotron screen outside. I don't know. But I think the amount of outpouring that has happened has really taken people aback, and how popular and influential Charlie Kirk was, still is. And so another cool video clip I saw was the Secret Service agents up on the roof waving at the crowd, clapping their hands together over their heads to get the crowd to participate. And I think some of that was heartfelt, but at the same time, I think it was to let the crowd know that they're protected. So if they see people up on the rooftops with rifles, they're not going to freak out and call 911 or something. So I think that might have been part of it. But regardless, it was nice. And so that's where we're going today. Now I'm going to turn the camera around. I just wanted to say hi to everybody. And I am walking today after not being as fresh as normal, because I walked 9 miles yesterday, actually more than that, a little bit. The inner part of my right hip by my groin, the tendon that's there hurts. Both big toes feel a little stiff. They're loosening up now. but my knees and lower back and stuff feel really good. So I think, well, I'll go for a walk. And I listen to my body. And it's a beautiful Sunday. God's day, as they say. Sun is out, 70 degrees feels like. And it's nice. So anyway, we're just going to continue on. I'm going to turn the camera around now. I just wanted to get my walk in today. And you can see the leaves are starting to turn. Still got a ways to go. We get some in there that are showing themselves brightly. So when they really start turning, I'm going to go on those back routes, and I'll probably do another 9-mile walk through the same route that we took, and I might do a reverse route next time than what I did. It just means going the opposite direction on the same route. We have these apples on the tree here ripening, which, by the way, last year what I did is I came through here, and when they were ripe and starting to fall, I was actually shaking the tree to help those fall out, because I would come through here and there would be animals eating the apples. The deer eat them, and so do the porcupines. And I walked through here one day, and there was a porcupine sitting there on his butt with his 2 little arms up in the air. He was sitting upright with an apple between his hands, gnawing on it, looking at me, not afraid, because porcupines are not afraid of people or anything really. And he was just looking at me like, "What are you looking at, bub? Haven't you ever seen a porcupine eat an apple before? Move along, buddy. Leave me alone." So that's what I did. And I was not recording videos at that time, and I didn't take a picture with my cell phone. It was at night. It's usually when porcupines come out. So anyway, I'm going to do a basic 5-mile route today. Okay, I got a big lighter. I have no idea how many of these I find when I walk, and I always pick them up. I got a couple dozen big lighters. Why? Because when the apocalypse comes, I'll have a light. So, anyways, in all seriousness, we are in an amazing time right now where we are witnessing a lot of historical events, both good and bad. The good being the far left narrative is crumbling under its own weight of stupidity, which people that were sane with common sense understood that that was in fact going to happen, because we all sat there and shook our heads, like the Me Too movement, for example. You must believe her. Always believe her. No matter who it is or what they say, when they accuse somebody of sexual assault, you have to believe them. That was an automatic red flag for people that with common sense. Like, what the hell are they talking about? That's ridiculous. Oh, you're a misogynist. You hate women. You're a far-right extremist. Oh, okay, that's the catch. If you don't go along with the left's narratives, then you are a bad person. So you have to believe the woman no matter what. And if you don't, you will be canceled. You'll get kicked off your TV show. You will not work in Hollywood. I'm talking about Roseanne Barr getting kicked off her show, and they even killed her character. That's how fucking serious they were. We will erase you. So, these people are dangerous to society, freedom, liberty, under the guise of freedom and liberty. They do this under the premise of democracy. They're preserving democracy by forcing people out of their jobs who don't go along with the narrative. And I can't even do the mental gymnastics to even try to accept any possibility of that being democracy. Because it's not. It's fascism. Authoritarianism. Label it what you wish, but thankfully, like I said, it is dying because it's unrealistic. It cannot be maintained. That's really the issue. So they try to go from topic to topic, like changing the topic is going to remove the elephant that's in the room, which is authoritarianism. So so whether it is believe her, men can say they're women, or the Palestine movement, and that is a movement. And let me state this as clearly as possible so you understand. Palestine was taken over by Hamas, a terrorist organization. They are a known terrorist organization group on every Western world's list of terrorists. They took over the Palestine government, okay? They've all been radicalized to hate Israel, hate freedom, hate democracy, and they want us dead, Americans. Anybody in the world that does not ascribe to Islam is worthy to be put to death. That's their words, not mine. So Palestine, if it was truly an independent state, I would recognize it as such, but they're not. They are a proxy for terrorist organizations, just like Libya is for Hezbollah, that has been chanting death to America for decades. It's not a slogan, they actually mean it, okay? So to see Britain, Canada, France, and other people recognizing Palestine as a free state is quite literally a joke. So that's my opinion on that. That's all it is. And I use common sense. Palestinian government was praising Allah. Government officials, people in charge, were praising Allah after the terrorist attack on Israel that killed well over 1,000 Israelis, killed women, children, took men hostages. And even after Israel has all but decimated most of Gaza and Palestine, are still supporting Hamas. So I am not going to support them until they denounce Hamas hold them accountable, kick them out, end them, and that's all there is to it. And I'm really sorry that civilians are paying the price for that, paying the price for their own leadership. And that's how I'm looking at it. Much in the same way, German citizens paid the price for empowering Hitler. It's really not much difference. In Japan as well. So, Palestine could have prevented the attack in Israel, and they didn't. They enjoyed it. They savored in it. They had no idea that Israel was going to respond the way they did. And I have to tell you, as somebody that's religious, Catholic, and believes in the Bible clearly states the Israelis are God's people. The Jews are God's people. And those who turn their back on the Jewish people will not fall in God's favor. So that is very clearly stated. The Book of Revelations also states that most countries, nations of the world, will turn their backs on Israel in their darkest hour. And now I say that I support Israel, I support the Israeli people and Jews. Some of the practices by the government of Israel are oppressive, and I do not agree with what they are doing. Some of it. I agree with eradicating Hamas, which is the decision by the Israeli government for self-preservation. And Hamas has not made it a secret. They want Israelis wiped off the map. So naturally, a country is going to protect itself. And they were provoked, they were attacked, so their actions are justified. It was an act of war, and with it comes consequences. And that is what Hamas is experiencing right now. And unfortunately, a lot of innocent Palestinians, which even that is up for debate on its own with regard to a lot of them have been raised in schools there, indoctrinated to support the end of Israel and chant the death to America. So basically they want us dead, and now the free world wants us to support Hamas, a terrorist organization. Because like I said, Palestine is not controlled by Palestinians, it's controlled by Hamas, a known terrorist organization. So that's the catch-22 they like to use. But you know, if you research it, that's just the way it is. That's the truth. I wish Palestine was their own sovereign state and were governing themselves and wanted peace, but they don't. So, hey. So anyway, nice to see people staying in shape. Walking up this hill is okay for me. I've done it a few times since you're watching. It's not my preferred route going up this hill. I walk down it usually, but that guy is running up the hill, and he stopped halfway up because it's a tough run. So we got some leaves turning, and now he's coming down the hill. That's a tough run. So anyway, we're gonna walk through, try to enjoy our day, early fall. This is a perfect weather to walk in. It's about 70 degrees, sunny, just like yesterday, even though yesterday was a little cooler. And So anyways, we are enjoying our day. So we're going to check out the Charlie Kirk Memorial, being live streamed everywhere. It's not hard to find. You get the official Charlie Kirk YouTube channel, as well as the Turning Point USA channel. All the social media outlets are streaming it, so you can definitely tune into that. If you wish. So that young guy had to stop running up the hill there. And he looked like he was in good shape too. So that just goes to show you, I don't know how often that guy runs, but probably from the college down that way, I'm guessing. So he's having a good workout today. So anyway, a lot of craziness in the world right now, and we must endure it. So we're going to do a basic 5-mile route today, and I think that'll be good for me. I definitely feel yesterday's walk. It's loosening up and feeling a little better. But that's why I do it. That's, at the end of the day, it's all good. You just got to find that balance between doing too much and overdoing it with wear and tear. And if it was something that was hindering me to the point where it would be an issue today, I would not have walked today. I would have rested. So everybody's different. I cannot imagine running every day, the wear and tear that would cause. And that is the best cardio for sure, but there's a price to pay for that. Even world-class runner Joan Benoit, she had run her whole life, and when you're young it's great, but over 50 starts catching up with you. And she was having some serious problems at 70 years old, with joints and hips and knees, and chances are a lot of people, when they get older, they need things like knee replacements, hip replacements, which they're getting quite good at these days. But the point being is, not a spring chicken. I don't want to overdo it. So keeping your joints lubricated by using them is a good thing to do, but that repetitive concussion from running is not good. And it's unfortunate too, because when people are used to jogging and running their whole life, they find walking unacceptable, because it's like if you used to play ice hockey all the time and now you're just public skating. You still get a workout, but it's not the same. So I understand that. But I have been reaping really great benefits from walking. So I got no complaints. You just got to walk within your means over a certain age. Any exercise is good exercise. You know, people are not expected to just go out and start walking every day. It's not how that works. There's a period of time where you have to acclimate, get used to it. The first year I started walking, it was 2, maybe 3 times a week. about 3 to 4 miles at a time. At first it was 2 miles. Then it was, well, let's go 4 miles. Let's try this route. Okay, that comes out to 4.25 every time I walk this route. So, all right, we'll do that for a while, every other day. Then that turns into every day. And then you start extending the distance. Now, if I walk routes that I used to walk, I feel like I'm not walking. I feel like I'm cheating. So that's the point I'm at now. So now I'm going to do a 5 mile because I made a point where when I got my stamina to a certain point of consistently being able to do 5 miles every day and physically being fine with that, I made that my baseline. So anything over that is a plus. That's really strange. That is really strange. I just walked past that car in that driveway. Couldn't hear it running. Didn't see anybody sitting in it. But something told me that there was a danger and the car was on. I really don't know what that was. And that happens to me sometimes. I know it's going to sound ridiculous to say it, okay? But sometimes I get like this sixth sense that something is dangerous, and for some reason I will just know what it is, and I don't know what that is. It doesn't happen very often, once or twice a year, but I just got that from that car I was walking by. Something told me there was a danger there and to be careful, and I was. So, very strange. So it didn't occur to me till after I just walked by this box that was on the ground. But that box I walked by, I don't know if you'll see it on the replay, I hope so. I'm not going to go back and film it because I'm in the middle of walking and I got a rhythm going. But it was full of those curly hue light bulbs. President Trump's executive order made old-fashioned light bulbs available again and gives you a choice. You can either buy the curly Q bulbs, the LED bulbs, or you can buy the old-fashioned light bulbs. So I'm wondering if that box was of the curly Q light bulbs, somebody was throwing them away. Because they replaced their light bulbs with real ones. Of course, I have no way of knowing that. They may have upgraded to the newer LED lights, which actually I do like. I like those because they give off good lighting. They cost more, a lot more, but they last a very long time. Years, actually. I have a couple that I've been using in my bedroom. I've been using the same two bulbs for 5 years at least, and they are LED bulbs, and I like them because you can get different color lighting. You can get white, yellow, natural, you can get bright, dim, whatever. They are pretty good. A lot of people like the old-fashioned incandescent light bulbs, which is fine. I still like those as well, but they get hot. The LED ones do get hot. Inside certain light fixtures, they recommend you don't use them. But anyway, whatever you want to use is fine. I guess is my point. People should have a choice. Let the market bear what they want, not force things on people. I guess is the whole point of his executive order. You want to buy a faucet that barely trickles any water out, and you have to wash 4 times as long in the shower, wasting even more water than if you could just get some water. That's fine, but I guess you can buy shower heads now that actually have water. I've learned how to take them apart and take the restrictors out, because basically they took existing designs and they either added a rubber O-ring on some kind of thing that squeezes, or a kind of like inserting a stent in the opposite way, like when they put one in your heart to open your heart valve. This will actually be a constriction you can insert into the water line inside your shower head. Right? And it has 2 rubber seals, an O-ring or 2 sometimes, and it just holds that in place and restricts the water flow. That's all it is. They're intentionally restricting the water flow. And you know how to take these apart and put them back together. Some of them come apart easy, some of them don't, but they all come apart because they go together a certain way. So all you have to do is find the restrictor and unrestrict it. And if it's something where you have to have that part in there, take it out and take a drill bit and actually drill the hole bigger while it's out of the shower head, and then put it back. So I got a pretty good sweat going right now because I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt with a shirt over it. I could have just got away with a t-shirt today, short sleeve. But I like sweating when I walk. I'm also wearing leggings, which also make it a lot warmer than I need to be. So I could have definitely left those at home. I gotta tell you, if you shoot outdoors in the wintertime, leggings are a must. Whether it's long johns or leggings that they sell for men to wear, like at the gym or playing basketball, they sell them to wear underneath your hockey uniform when you're playing, because it helps keep you warm while you're playing. And it also helps wick moisture away from you when it's warm, which is why athletes wear them. I first started wearing those when I played ice hockey. A lot of other people wear those as well. Whatever works for you. But I definitely did not need those today. I thought it was going to feel cooler than it is. This actually feels nice today. It feels like 75, but I know it's about 69, 70. There's no breeze. It feels nice. So I'm at 2.5 miles right now, halfway through. According to the voice in my ear. And we're going to head back. We just saw a trans person on a skateboard. Pretty in pink. Oh yay. So we are passing through the Bates College area, aka Rainbowville. We got a rainbow on the Maine flag. We got the fascistic flags out there. Ooh, I got sweat dripping out from under my hat. So this is that's what we have in this neighborhood. All of the stuff that sounds good and should be common among people, but they've turned it into a neo-Marxist fist in the air thing. I think that's one of the biggest things I hate about the left. They took good values and perverted them for politics and control. Most normal people don't hate somebody else because they're different. And it feels like they exploit that. And I will never go along with that. Exploiting minorities for politics is disgusting. That's why I call them the racists and the bigots. Because they don't really care about those people. They're just using them. That's the truth of it. So anyway, I'm going to talk about something that happened yesterday. There's a golf club, country club in New Hampshire, Nashua, New Hampshire. It didn't make the national news. Well, it did with some, but the local affiliates had it. But the national news is not going to cover it because this guy was at a wedding ceremony, celebration, at a country club, private, thing. And this young man was at the country club's restaurant nearby and was watching it. And it's still unclear if he knew the guy at this wedding. But it was not somebody that was getting married. It was somebody attending it. It looks like this guy that attacked him knew him, or had seen him in the restaurant, or had some kind of conversation with him prior. We don't know what that was about, but I know why the guy that was 59 got shot. So this guy was at this wedding reception type thing at a country club, Nashua, New Hampshire. And it's in southern New Hampshire, by the way. And so this guy walked over from the restaurant and he had a pistol and he just started shooting. And while he was shooting, he said, "Free Palestine." So he's one of those. The guy that got shot in the face was 59 years old. And he got shot right in the face. Whew. Pretty close. So I listened to the police scanner call on that, and they said the guy got shot in the face and they needed medical assistance right away, and quote unquote, other people had been injured. So this guy shot multiple people. I guess he just emptied his pistol. I don't know how many shots were fired. I don't have that verified. But this is a verified news story where he said free Palestine while he was shooting. So oh look, we got a bouncy castle. Isn't that cool? Somebody set up a bouncy castle for the kids. I would have loved that as a kid. You kidding me? I could go jump in it now. I'd have to take my shoes off, but it's probably still busted. I don't think it's made for 224 pounds. So anyway, which by the way, I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt with a regular extra large t-shirt over on top of it. 4 years ago, I could not wear this like this. I would have had to squeeze into it, stretch it out. So anyway, he shot this guy in the face. 59-year-old man is dead. At least 2 other people injured, and other people they said were injured, and they didn't name exactly how many, but at least 2 other people were shot. And obviously this is far left extremist violence, because that's the people out screaming, threatening people. So it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. It's another neo-Marxist adopted society topic. So, social issues. And yes, you know, kids being killed in Gaza is horrible. Palestinian children being killed is terrible. But there are other circumstances that brought that about. When we firebombed cities in Germany, we understood that many innocent people were going to be killed, but it was deemed necessary to end the war and the violence. And it's a terrible thing. War is not a good thing, but that is what happens in war. And Palestine should have made a decision not to do what they did. And they obviously had no control over Hamas, or they directed Hamas to do that. So my sympathy for Palestine is pretty much non-existent. I'm sorry. And I'm in show me mode. Show me something other than just saying Israel is evil, Israel is this, Israel is that, without owning your own crap. So even just both sides are wrong, we need to sit down and work out a peace deal. That works for me. I'm not looking to chastise Palestinian people and rid them to the fire pits of hell. It's not what I'm saying. But I am saying there needs to be peace, and people need to own why there is war on all sides. Israel, their government, I don't agree with everything they do, but they have a right to exist there. Palestine, if they were legit and not controlled by a terrorist group, they have a right to exist as well. But I'm not at that point yet, because that's not what I'm seeing from them. So, and that's just the truth of it. It's my opinion. I certainly do not condone violence. I do not wish for violence. And I wish it would stop by everybody. But as my mother used to say, wish in one hand and crap in the other, and tell me which one you get first. So, a lot of truth to that. So regardless, I watched a video from this guy that did the shooting from 2016. He had all of the rainbow stuff, trans stuff, stickers all over the guitar, purple hair, long hair, singing liberal kumbaya type stuff. That was 2016. Now he's clean cut, good looking young man, and he's obviously in places where he shouldn't be. Probably on social media, just like the other wackadoons or wackadoodles we have seen. So, crazy times we're in. So I just wanted to give you an update about how things like that are happening and the media is not reporting them. Because right now, they're in a state of denial that there is far left extremist violence. They're trying to say that the most violence comes from the right. Because some study said so. These media people keep putting people on there to keep reaffirming misinformation. Anybody with a sane mind knows that the far left is violent. They're the ones doing the violence. They're trying desperately to make it violence that's not happening because of leftist policies. And they're running out of rope with that. Anyways, continuing on. Having a good workout today. I am going to take a left away from the traffic so I don't have to scream and holler. Walk through a quieter street. Yeah, so I got sidetracked, but you know, I was walking behind that car like this, and something just told me to watch out for that car. And while I was walking by it, I do what I always do when I'm walking. I pay attention to my surroundings, and my brain told me that that car was not running and nobody was in it. It was safe. And it wasn't, because after I walked by it, I looked, somebody was in there and it was running. Just a very, very quiet car. So I don't know what does that. I remember one time I was going through an intersection and something just told me to stop. And I stopped. And as soon as I stopped, somebody went through the red light right in front of me. I think I would have got hit. I don't know why I stopped. I can't explain that. I cannot explain that. And like I said, it's only something like that that happens once every couple of years, once a year. Because, you know, how often is that really something that's even going to happen, you know? Chances of being in a car accident are actually pretty slim if you're paying attention. But that was one I couldn't have done anything about, because I wouldn't have seen that coming. It was at one of those angles that, you know, because the intersection wasn't a straight, like a X, a cross. It was more like an X. So when you're over here, you can't see over here. You just trust that the light's green and people are going to stop. And it's like that at every intersection you drive through. So your light's green, you're going through the intersection. But I stopped. I just knew something, you know, and this was like 6 years ago, 7 years ago. I just knew. Really strange. Can't explain that. I also remember in 1998, we had an ice storm here. Made the national news. It was a disaster. Trees were falling on houses. Power was out. Couldn't even go down the street. Everything was covered in ice. And you had to wait until the ice melted. And it was safe for them to work on the power lines, which took almost a week. And that was in the wintertime. And that was a terrible week for me. I lost my job that week. A tree branch fell through the window of the car. And worried about trees falling all night. And the woman I was living with left me that week. So we had the ice storm. I became homeless. And everything that could go wrong went wrong. So anyway, the reason why I bring that up is I was going through a tough spell, and I woke up after having a dream, and the dream was so real, I knew it was something special. I don't know why. I could feel it. My mother had died 2 years prior, and she was giving me a message. And I know this sounds crazy, I really don't care, but it's what happened. So either I'm crazy or it really happened, you decide, whatever. But all I saw was a cup, a Star Wars cup in a wood cupboard. And it was telling me to remember that. Remember that cup. And on the cup was, you're gonna think I'm nuts, a middle-aged Obi-Wan Kenobi. Okay, for a movie that had not been made yet. This was 1998. The Episode 1 Resurgence of Star Wars came out a year and a half, almost 2 years later. And it was a very young Obi-Wan, basically a teenager, a Padawan. So that's not what I saw in the cup. I saw a middle-aged Obi-Wan Kenobi with a beard, no gray hair, with a lightsaber, and the Star Wars logo on a tall white cup. in a wood cupboard. I'm like, okay, well, that's bizarre. Didn't know what it meant. I knew it meant something. Thought about it quite often for a few years. And then in 2005, they released episode 3. Star Wars episode 3. So I'm going to see the movie in the theater. I look down, and I swear to God, the cup I saw in 1998 in my dream was sitting there right in front of me, in front of the garbage can on the floor. And I picked it up. Stunned, just absolutely stunned. It's the same cup I saw with a middle-aged Obi-Wan Kenobi on it. I don't know what the hell that means. I don't know how that happens. But it did. I'm not making it up. That's a real story. And I knew it was a real vision when I saw it in 1998. Didn't know what it meant. Had no idea. Just, well, it must be one of those things. I don't know. Until I saw that. Then when I got home, I put it up in the cupboard where I put things like that. And guess what I saw? Hey, hey, hey. What I saw was the wood cupboard that I had seen in 1998. Right in our own damn kitchen in front of my nose all this time. And it hadn't occurred to me until I found the cup. So I put it in the cupboard right where I saw it in my vision, and it was the same damn image I saw. I can't explain that, guys. I really can't, but that's a true story. So, don't know what that meant. Hey, how you doing? So I don't know what the hell that means. I do know that in 2005 I joined Facebook, and I also joined a Star Wars group, and I actually met somebody through the daughter of that person in the Star Wars group. It may or may not be connected somehow, have no idea, but it's just one of those things. I don't know what that meant. Maybe I'll know someday. Had to have meant something. It was definitely, see, the important thing is that was a message in 1998 that I felt that my mother was giving me that had passed away. And that's really why it sunk in a lot. It meant something. So, I don't know, just thought I'd share it with you. That's what these walks are for. I've told that story before a year or two ago. I don't talk about it very often, but it did happen. That, I swear to God, to the Lord Jesus Christ, that is exactly what happened. Just like I said. So anyway, I'm gonna walk on. I just hit the 4-mile mark. Oh, the name of that guy, by the way, in New Hampshire that shot the guy in the face and he said Free Palestine, his name was Hunter Nadeau. That's a Franco-American name because New England, that's what you get. N-A-D-E-A-U, Nadeau. You want to look up the news story. So this comes out to about 14 miles in 2 days. We've done a 6-mile this week, some 5-milers. Today's Sunday, so if I do, I've walked every day without taking one off, so it's at least 5 every day. So that's at least 35 miles. And tack on whatever's extra. It's looking right now like an extra 11 miles maybe. So I'm definitely over 45 miles this week, for sure. Which is a lot. That's like walking from here to Portland, Maine, or a little bit beyond, maybe South Portland, Saco, in one session, which would take over 2 days, I believe. Something like that. So like when I'm walking right here and I see on the side here and we see the sand where it meets the grass, that reminds me, I always have these flashbacks back to Maple Street when we were kids. There was this area along the road just off it where I would have my plastic army men and troop trucks and tanks and stuff. Half track. And I would play with my army men in the dirt. And I like having those flashbacks. I like that. That was a fun age. I think when I was 10 years old, 11 years old, that was the best times in my whole life as far as being truly happy, innocent, and carefree. Taking jumps with your bicycles. We even played smash up derby with our bikes, which was crazy. And I had a Batman utility belt. I had a Star Trek one, which had the communicator. It's fun. I think the coolest thing I had was a Star Trek phaser gun that made noises. It wasn't electronic or anything, it didn't light up. But it made clicky noises and it was fun. I had a rubber Jaws shark I used to like to play with in a tub. It's pretty cool. Jaws was a relatively new movie at that time. So I remember all those movie crazes, Close Encounters, Star Wars, all of that stuff. Fun times, it really was. Never to be repeated again. I should be thankful we lived through that. But you got a lot of young people now that are getting into retro things because the stuff they have today really sucks, to be honest with you. Technology affords some really great things, but it has a lot of downsides. And I think a lot of young people are recognizing that, and they're appreciating things like vinyl records, which, by the way, is still a big industry and growing. It is quite the phenomenon to be resurrected like that. And the majority, you know, a lot of people think it's old people reliving their youth. And it's not. The majority of the market right now is people under 35. They're absolutely obsessed with vinyl records. I think they're the coolest things ever. Plastic disc with grooves in it, and it plays music that actually sounds freaking awesome. It's like they can't wrap their head around it. So the last industry report I read for vinyl production, the industry is predicting a steady increase up until, as far as they were going, 2033. So this is not going to be declining. So the industry uses this to decide where they're going to invest money and how much. And they're all predicting the market to steadily increase. Now, years ago, I was buying used vinyl, $1, $2, $5, you know, Procol Harum, $3.98. Those same records now are 15 or 20 bucks used because of this new market. Demand is very high. So very interesting to see that. So anyway, we're on the final mile of this walk on September 21st. Now, September 23rd and 24th, you have 2 religious holidays coming up for Jewish people. And a lot of people have been predicting the rapture. So the last part of this walk is going to be about that. I am not well versed in Holy Scripture about the rapture because the Bible, the King James English version, doesn't mention the rapture in it at all, but it's named something else. So raptura, which is Latin, in the Latin Bible, it mentions the rapture, which the King James one was transcribed from. But because of politics at the time, it was worded differently. So anyway, allegedly, a lot of the top prophets in the world, and seers, I should say, have stated that September 23rd or 24th is the day of the rapture, which the Bible says there's no specific date, so that's just their guessing. So chances are nobody knows when Jesus is coming, okay? All I can do is guess. But a lot of people believe the 23rd, on this religious holiday for Jews, is when it's going to happen, or the 24th, which is another religious event, back to back. So we did have the blood red moon recently, which is another indicator, allegedly. So I'm not going to say one way or the other, but the rapture means is people that are believers are going to be taken, and the people who are not are going to be left behind to suffer the fate of the end of the world and end times. So basically what they're saying is if a lot of people you know just suddenly all disappear all at the same time, you'll know what that is. There will be extreme panic and confusion, and This is when the Antichrist emerges as a leader for the world, because he will issue calm, because he'll be a really good orator, and he will govern, and things will be good for a couple, 3 years. And then that's when they start imposing their will, and bad things start happening with authoritarianism, people being put to death who don't go along with the government, things like that. Just telling you what it is. I'm not saying I believe it or I don't believe it, but I do believe in God and the Bible, and I do believe that there is going to be a rapture someday. You can laugh at me for it if you want to. It's fine with me. I just don't think it's going to be this week. I guess is my point. And if it is, then it is, but I don't think it will be. So, I do know that a lot of churches have been corrupted. You get churches in Chicago doing transgender awareness events and things like that, and they're wearing rainbow sashes in the Catholic Church. It's like the church is corrupt. It's unfortunate. But that is also in the book of Revelations. It says that the churches will be corrupted by evil. A lot of things are going to be corrupted. A lot of fake people who are really something else that have power. And the way things have been going in the world right now, I mean, who am I to argue that? I mean, we're seeing it, aren't we? I mean, things are definitely different than they've always been. It has progressed to a point now where something is wrong, and everybody knows it. So, and a lot of people are turning to God for guidance through these times of all just incredible lunacy. And it's evil. It's evil. I believe evil is trying to ruin places like Europe. These people are corrupt. They're corrupt. I mean, really bad. Everybody knows that importing millions of people into your country too fast is going to ruin your society, but that's what they want. They need to have that structure destroyed to take over everything. Problem is they don't understand how bad what they let in is. I'm talking about religion-wise. These people are there that don't want to be there. They hate white people. They hate the British. And they're going to take it over and do bad things. Like in France, when we saw a priest hauled out on the grass and beheaded in front of the whole neighborhood. I mean, it's not good. It's not good. With them, it's just Islam, and that's it. There's nothing else. Anything else beside that is worthy of getting rid of. That's their viewpoint on it. They say it. So I'm not making that up. I'm not being a bigot. It's just what they say. So anyway, I think today's walk is going to be an interesting test of the YouTube algorithm. I've talked about at least 3 taboo subjects that big tech is known to censor people in Europe for. And Google has made an alliance with Donald Trump, not because they like Trump, but because they're a bunch of greedy bastards, and they want the future AI market, which the United States is going to lead the world in, by the way. So the future is going to be AI, and it's also going to be cryptocurrency. Canada this week has announced that they're going to be in October instituting a national cryptocurrency app, electronic stuff, And basically, the government now is going to have the ability to cut off your money if you go against the government in Canada. Canada's gone. They're not going to come back. And once you start relying all on electronic stuff that the government controls, that's over for you. And, you know, don't sit there and shake your head saying, come on. What happened during the trucker protest in Ottawa? I donated money to the trucker convoy. It wasn't much, but I donated some money. I had it returned to me from Give, Send, Go, because the Canadian government forced them to. Now, if it was a Canadian bank account, like TD Bank North, the government seized your bank account. You can look this up. Citizens in Canada weren't able to pay their mortgages or have their paychecks deposited into their bank accounts because the government seized their accounts because they donated money to truckers. They did that because they declared an emergency, which the Supreme Court later said 2 years afterwards was illegal, and Trudeau had no authority to do that. Nothing was done about it. The banks were told that they violated people's rights. Nothing was done about it. They did it. And now they have an electronic app that you will use for transactions in Canada, cryptocurrency, and you piss off the government and they'll just shut you out. They haven't announced that, but you know that's what they're going to do with it. So, anyways, my friends, enjoy being an American. Be thankful. And we cannot allow anything like that here. So that's why we need to remain vigilant, because Democrats would do that. So anyways, my friends, God bless you. Say a prayer for Trump and the country. Watch the Charlie Kirk Memorial, either post-memorial or during. I'm going to go home and watch the rest of it now. And say a prayer for our country. And have a really great day. We'll see you on the next walk, my friends. Stay healthy, stay safe, and be good to one another, and remain peaceful. See you later. Bye-bye.